Today, if we look at our focus goal, we are going to work on another strategy. We've worked on trying to reread. If it sounds choppy and it doesn't sound right, we have to go back and we have to reread it. We've worked on using our context clues. Two things, the picture or the other words around it. And yesterday we worked on reading ahead. So, hey, I don't know that word. Maybe I should keep reading and I'll figure that out. Today we're going to work on something called chunking. Say chunky. Chunky. Let's say it together. Say chunky. Chunky. Chunking. Alright, I can break unknown words into chunks to help me figure out how to say the word. So we're talking about when we're reading during our IDR time or at home, sometimes we cannot go to an adult or the teacher and ask them what the word is. So we need to figure out strategies that we can do on our own by ourselves to help us figure out what we're reading. So this is another strategy to help you figure out what you're reading. So let me show you an example of what chunking looks like. So I have chunking here, and here are some examples. So I'm reading and I see this word, and I don't know what this word is. So I can chunk it into two words. I actually know that that word is run and that word is away. So I think the word might be runaway. Runaway. For this one, if I don't know this word, I could chunk it as well. I could chunk it into, I know that word is cat, caterpillar, caterpillar. Yes, so those are strategies that you can use to help you figure out. So let's look. While that is loading, the next one is this word. Oh, what if I didn't know that? What could I do? Georgia, you could chunk it. So here's how I could chunk it. I know that word is cost. Is costumes. And I've chunked it. And the last one can be chunked into lots of parts. I know that word is information. So the word is information. So that is what chunking means. That's what I mean when I say chunking. So let's look up here at an example, because when you're reading, you're not going to see just one word on the page. You see lots of words on the page. First, I want to thank those of you who are looking at the board. I want to thank those of you who have nothing in your hands, and those of you who are showing me that you're learning and you're ready to learn. So if I'm reading my book by myself at home or during IDR time and I'm not with a teacher, here's my book. My mom and dad were already awake. They had heard the sound too. What was that? Okay, so I don't know that word. So I'm going to try to break it up and chunk it into sections. So I can chunk it into stuff. I know that starts with that. Stuff. Utter. Stuff. Utter. Stuttered. So what was that? I stuttered. Now, I just solved the word on my own without raising my hand and asking the teacher or asking mom and dad what that word was. I chunked it. I stuttered. I don't know. Let's go check it out, replied Dad. All three of us. So if I get to this word, I'm going to say scut. Eed. Scurried. All three of us scurried down the stairs. Scurried? I don't know what that means. Is there any other strategy that we've already learned that I could use? What do you think scurried means? Camden. We could use read ahead. What do you think scurried means? And what makes you say that? What other words help you? All three of us scurried down the stairs, so he thinks that maybe it means hurried. So you can use lots of strategies at one time. My dad led the way, and then my mom, and then me. I had no idea what to expect. So as I'm reading, I'm using the strategy chunking today. That's your job. Today, during IDR time, you are going to be chunking any words you don't know. And you are going to be writing on a piece of paper the words that you don't know and how you chunked them. So now I'm going to model what you guys are going to do during your reading and what you have to write down. We know you always have to write down your name, and you always have to write down today's date. Today's date is 9:30. The question you're writing down is words I used chunking with today. So I'm going to be making a list of words today. I'm going to be making a list of words today. So turn to your paper that you're going to write on. I like how Jofred is already there. I like how Alana is already there. Mason is already there. Good job. Dario is there. Take your pencil and write your name if you haven't already done that. I like how Jalen is doing that quietly. AJ is writing today's date, 9:30. I like how Jofred is writing today's date. Malaysia is writing today's date. If you don't have a piece of paper, do you think that now is the time to get up during the middle of the lesson and walk around and try to find one?
No.
Probably not. So if you could have a seat, that would be perfect. When we come to the carpet, it's important that you have all of your materials. So if I see that all of a sudden people are getting up and walking around, I'm going to note that and I'm going to say it out loud so that you guys know that's not meeting the expectation. And we'll know next time that that won't happen. So everybody wrote their name. Everybody wrote the date. Everybody is writing words I used chunking with today on my paper. Good, Tamari. Good, Takira. Because this is what our response is going to be as we're reading today. Good, Malaysia. So let's pretend like this is my book that I'm reading. I love this book. This book is called Miss Brooks Loves Books. And this is the book that I chose to do today for my IDR time. That was inside my box. And I know Miss Powell told me that as I was reading, I had to look for words that I didn't know, and I had to write them down how I chunked them. So when I'm reading, what I did here was I copied these words right here so that you guys could see it a little better. So this is the exact words that are on the page right here. This is so you can see it. So follow along as I'm reading, and when I come to a word I don't know, I'm going to stop and write it down on my paper. Here we go. Then, in May, Miss Brooks tells us about something truly, I don't know that word. So I am going to write it down on my paper. Here I go. Everybody's going to write it down. Do it with me. I don't know the word, sorry. T-E-R-R-I-F-Y-I-N-G. Woo, that's a long word. So Miss Powell said I had to use chunking. Let's see. What could I say that is?
Tear.
Tear. So, Miss Powell, I chunked these together So I'm going to underline T-E-R-R. Miss Powell, I chunked. Tear.
There.
I chunked. Tear. What does F-Y make? What does the sound F-Y make? Fi. So Miss Powell, I chunked. Tear. Fi. And what does the sound? Ing. Ing.
Terrifying.
Ing. So here we go, Mason. You're already ahead. We're going to put it together. Tear.
Terrifying.
Let me do it. Here we go. Let me do it. Please. Tear. Fi. Ing. Terrifying. So Miss Powell knows when I was reading, I came across this word. I wrote it down. She knows how I chunked it. How? Because I underlined the letters that I chunked together. She knows I chunked tear. She knows I chunked I. She knows I chunked by and E. So if she calls on me to share at the end, I'm going to tell her the word and I'm going to tell her how I chunked it. Now I'm going to keep reading. Let's see. Here we go. Book week. You each need to pick a favorite story to share with the class. I want you to wear a... Ooh, I don't know this word here. So I'm going to write the word down. Everybody writes the word down that we don't know. Now what do I do? What should I do now? Not just the word. I have to tell Miss Powell what? Janiyah? How I chunked it. Yes. So what should I chunk? Who wants you to tell me the first part you're going to chunk? Damari. Cost. Underline cost. Good. He found another word he knew in there. Cost. Camden, what letters are you going to chunk next? Okay. U and M. And E. Costume. Costume. So Miss Powell knows I came across these two words and I used my strategy of chunking today when I was reading. Now, how many words should you have? As many words as you come across that you don't know. What if I'm reading and I know all the words? The book is too easy. The book is too easy for you. The book is too easy. That means you're not reading a just right book. If it's just right, there's a little bit of words you don't know. There's a lot of words that you do know. The little bit of words that you don't know should be on here, and you should be showing me how you chunked them. Are there any questions about what you're going to do during your reading time today about how you're going to make a list of the words you don't know? Questions? AJ.
What if they come across a word and then they don't know a word and then when you try to sum it up, they still don't know?
He said, what if you come across a word and they tried to chunk the word and they still don't know what the word is? Is there another strategy that we could use?
Yeah.
Tell me one strategy that you can use and you tried chunking and it still didn't work. What should you use now, Dario?
Read ahead.
You could use read ahead. Camden? Reread it. Look at the pictures. Sound it out. All those things. So sometimes you can't use chunking, but sometimes you can. So we're going to practice chunking today. Behavior expectations. Everyone is reading. We know what real reading is and fake reading is. Everybody is in one spot, reading the entire time, not sitting by your friends. Let's see who can go to their spot when I call you the best. If you are a girl, please go to your spot.